All right.
Everything you're about to hear is for entertainment purposes only. Listen, have some fun, but don't ever do, believe, or promote anything they say. They're idiots.
Guys, hold up. You should know, this ain't for everybody. Welcome to Savagely Loud. What's happening, people? Guys, welcome back to the show for the people that understand that facts divided by feelings equals failure. I'm Cliff, I'm your host, and I'm joined today and always by my co-host, Big Dave Anderson, the Viking. But before we get to today's show, you know the drill. If you want to help me out, get these words out, get these truths out, you can follow me on Instagram at Savagely Loud. That is where I'm most active. And on that page, you're going to find two links. One of those links is to the Savagely Loud podcast page. If you could please follow me there too, that would be greatly appreciated, as that will inevitably be my backup page. The other link you're going to find is a simple link tree. Anywhere you want to hear my bullshit or see my rants, you can find it there easy peasy. Outside of that, Facebook, X, and Rumble at Savagely Loud, YouTube at Savagely Loud Podcast, and you can email me in at savagelyloud@gmail.com, which I strongly suggest you do. And last but not least, of course, don't forget to like, comment, and share. And also, please do not forget to rate and review the shows. It really does help us get into the algorithm and wake up all the motherfuckers that you and I both know need to be awakened. That all being said, Dave, how we doing? Why don't you let everybody know how they can find you?
All right, man. Well, I'm doing great today. Another beautiful day to be alive. You can all find me on social media at The Hammer Drops. I'm heavily active over there on Instagram and Facebook. While you are there, don't forget to follow, like, and share the content. In the bio, you're going to find a couple links. You're going to find one to the website, thehammerdrops.com, and the other one to a link tree that will take you to all of the other crevices on the internet that you can find this beautiful face and listen to my podcast, The Hammer Drops. And don't forget, while you're listening to this episode right here, it's very easy. Hit that like button, hit the share button, and don't forget to subscribe over there on YouTube.
Yes. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, especially because, we need you.
Yeah, we need you.
We need you. We need you.
We need to get our voices out to more people over there because they don't like to come over to anywhere else, it seems like.
That is something that people need to understand. Guys, I'm going to have a little PSA real quick for you. If you're a creator or an aspiring creator and you're going to go through the same problem that all creators do at the beginning. Mm-hmm. You're not going to understand why you're getting traction on one site and not another site. I'll give you an example of this. I've got 155,000 followers on Facebook. I've got 63,000 followers on Instagram, and I'm up to 162, just 162 followers on X. The reason for this is because people that are on a platform, they get married to these platforms pretty quickly. I personally like Instagram. I like to see the photo and be able to decide whether I want to see the opinion that follows it. I'm not a huge fan of Facebook for the opposing reason. Facebook, they jam the opinion down your throat and then give you the image. Not a huge fan of that. But X is a cesspool of nightmarishly fucking hellishly terrible fucking crap, rhetoric, people, everything. So I don't really love X, but the people that are on X, they only are on X. The people that are on Facebook only go to Facebook. The people that go to Instagram only go to Instagram. It's real easy to believe the truth. It's like, it's not too hard. You've got a Facebook account. You've got an Instagram account. Just follow me on both. Won't happen. It's not going to fucking happen. So know that if you're an aspiring creator, that you're gonna find a platform that works for you, and you're gonna find a platform that works for the people that like you. Marry that platform. Just push hard on that one. Don't necessarily forego all of the other ones. I still post on the other ones, but run with what works.
Yeah. I've been on X for a while, and I think I have 88 followers.
Yeah, that's where I'm at on Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have some sort of, I don't know. I guess let's be honest. I mean, unless you're a liberal over there on X, that seems like it's pushed even more than anything else. So, I mean, it just, and it's a bunch of crybabies out there. So that's why I stay off of it now.
X is the land of extremism. Like you can't get traction on X unless you are fuck every fucking race in every and rattling off every epithet you could fucking think of. Fuck these hard R's and these fucking Ikes and these fucking other things, these backs and all that, you'll get traction. Contrarily to that, if you're on the other side of that, but you're just as extreme, fuck these bigot redneck pieces of shit. Those are the only two motherfuckers that get traction on X. Yeah. Now, you have to either be against everybody or against the people that are supposedly against everybody. Other than that, you're getting lost.
Yeah. Or unless you're like, one of those Harry Sissons that get paid by the DNC and stuff like that, then you're going to get some traction.
Yeah. You get a lot of them motherfuckers. Well, they, because they own the fucking, like it or not. People want to think that Elon's all this whole free speech, this and that. And I part of me, I don't know whether he's just controlled opposition or if he's got so much money that he just lets his autism take over and says, fuck it. I don't understand what's happening, but it could be the ketamine, you never know. Cause he's openly admitted to taking that prescription based, of course, I'm not looking, I like Elon as an entrepreneur, as a thinker. Yeah. But there's certain things about the way he operates and stuff that just, they kind of make me, they put him at arm's length in my brain because like when he got involved with the whole Trump thing, I couldn't figure out if he was the savior or the Antichrist, but I knew he could be one of the two, but there wasn't going to be a whole lot in the middle that was going to describe him.
Honestly, I've never trusted Elon. I respect him for his entrepreneurship. Outside of that, that's about it. I don't trust him. I can't trust him as far as I can. I can't trust him as far as I can throw you, and I can't throw you that far.
I like the fact that he attacks his own kid, though. You fucking mentally ill piece of shit.
Yeah,
woke mind virus. That. It's the embracement of reality, I guess. I appreciate that. But on the note of embracing reality, so I'm 43, and as Dave has often said, he's 167 years old. So
177. 177. I'm 177. I look damn fucking good for being 177 years old.
Yes,
just a little bit of gray hair.
I can't wait to see you in the year 3080.
I'll still look the fucking same, except my brain and my soul will be in a fucking robot.
Yeah, I'll be like little raisin Cooper inside of some sort of mechanical device.
I'll just be like, fuck you.
But so we are of the age where we find ourselves talking about the 90s quite often. And I think we should talk about the 90s today because here's the truth, guys. People our age demographic, if you grew up in the 90s, I was born in 82. So I was really, yes, I was an 80s baby, but I was a 90s person. I really did grow up in the 90s. It's where I formed most of my memories, most of the parts of the things that are in my brain that I like. That all happened in the 90s. So I'm a 90s kid, as most of our generation is. That being said, we tend to look at the 90s with a very, very a very big pair of rose-colored glasses. We have a very romanticized view of the 90s. And I think we need to break this down a little bit because, yes, first and foremost, I will say, if you offered me the chance to live life, like turn life as we know it right now back into the 90s or leave it as it is, I would very obviously pick the 90s for many, many reasons. But there's an important aspect of the 90s that nobody wants to embrace, and maybe nobody's even thought about it, so we're going to think about it with you. The 90s, if you think about it, and you really start breaking down the habits we were taught, the characteristic traits that we were told we should have, the TV shows and the movies we were watching, if you really start thinking about all of this, you start understanding quickly that the 90s, from 90 to 2000, was the depth, the deepest part of the indoctrination cycle that has led us to life in 2026. Everything that happened in the 90s bred into the people that are now on the fucking streets, the mid 40s liberals going fucking crazy, losing their shit on people because they don't believe that you're supposed to have the freedom of speech as long as it's something they don't want to hear. They're the ones indoctrinating their children so bad. all of that got planted in the 90s. And we talk about the 90s as though it was this amazing time, but really it was really just another cog in the machine. It was just another turning gear in the system.
No, and I would have to completely agree with you. I mean, I'm lucky, being born in 75. So I grew up in the 80s. So I had the 80s and the 90s, where the 90s for me were more my teen years. And I was getting out of school around 93. And I think it was shortly after, I don't want to say it was like the early 90s that all that started really happening. I want to say it was more towards the mid 90s where they really started revving it up. That's when they started changing curriculums in school and just started fucking up shit. And that's when a lot of those other programs like on TV with music and all that stuff started really coming out, was towards more after about 93-ish, I would have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I'll be honest with you, I don't remember it that clearly because I would have been 8 in 1990. But when I look back at it, and plus I do have, again, to touch on my history, I do have the blessing of having the view of the 90s from the opposing faction of the 90s, right? Because I was a fucking racist as long as I can remember. Back in the day, I was a racist kid, I was a racist teenager, and I was a racist young adult. And then that's when I started, I started becoming this other thing where I didn't want to just be part of the system. I started reading, I spent a lot of years in school suspension, and I would always be reading psychology books because I was trying to figure out what was fucked up in me, why I viewed the world this way, why I felt this way from an emotional standpoint about certain things. So I would always read these psychology books when I was in school suspension and outside, but mostly in school suspension. But I was a skinhead, so I saw the world through not so rose-colored glasses. I saw the world from a point or a perspective as to where it was already crumbling. Like, why are white people and black people getting along so fucking well? Don't you know these people want to hurt us? Don't you know these people want to kill us? Don't you know these people want us fucking dead? Don't you know these people are responsible for most of the fucking crime we have here? Like, don't you understand that these are terrible fucking people? Living through the 90s with that view, I now can look back at the 90s with this current view that I hold and the view that I had back in the 90s, having lived it. And I can understand that between those two perspectives is the truth. And the truth is that the 90s was spent by major media corporations and our American government and other governments, Israel, to fundamentally change America and the way it operated and the way the people believed it should operate, the way the people believed they themselves should operate. We saw a lot of this, and it was a lot through hip hop music and television. We saw shows like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which to this day, fucking love that show. I absolutely am a fucking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air fan, 100%. But I can see it for what it is. Yes, it gave you some of that, it gave you a lot of life lessons. Like, I'm also a fan of Family Matters. That was an all-black show. I was a fan then, Steve Urkel and what is it, the guy, Carl Winslow was the dad, I was a fan of all these shows, and these shows had messages in them. They had messages of treat your people good, be good to people in general, be good to yourself. I get all of that. But where you start drawing the line, if you think back, is Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was a black show. Family Matters was a black show. The Cosby Show was a black show. Name me a white show. Name me one show from the 90s that was a fully white cast.
Everybody Loves Raymond. Wasn't that 90s? Friends.
They're all Jews.
Or was that too? Oh, shit. That's right.
Yeah. There wasn't I don't think there was a single show throughout the entire course of the 90s that was strictly a white show. The last white show we had was All in the Family, and they still had to throw a token black dude in there every now and then.
Yeah, you know what? You are absolutely correct. Now that I'm just sitting here like racking my brain trying to figure, because growing up and having that luxury of growing, being in the 90s in my teen years, and I don't recall. I mean, if we're looking at it from that point of view, I don't recall any just straight up white shows like that.
Yeah. The white shows that we saw were all fucking Jewish people.
Yeah. You're 100% correct. Damn.
Yeah.
You just blew
So
my fucking mind.
right. So, and that was a problem for me in the 90s. You know, I was a racist, so I saw it for what it was. But that began really the indoctrination setup for what we're seeing in 2025. And now, if we just break that down really quick, we can get a timeline. If we understand that the 90s, the decade of the 90s, was the setup for now what we're seeing in life actually happened 25 years later. We can then understand, if we apply that timeline, that basic timeline to history, you can see 25 to 50 year increments of change. If we apply that to the future now, we should be able to be in a fucking mindset as a group of people, as a society of people, as a culminated demographic of diverse population. We should be able to be smart enough to say, hey, if this is the way it is now, and this is what we're seeing right now, what in the fuck is going to happen 25 years from now? What is life going to look like in 2050 if life looks like this now? And it all started in the 90s.
Wow. You know, now that put it in that kind of perspective, it makes you, like, my brain has been wandering, like, wait, I'm trying to think, well, what about Home Improvements? Was that, but then again,
bought and paid for.
It's just like, huh. Go fucking figure.
I absolutely love Home Improvement. It's one of my fucking top 3 shows of all time.
Yes. I love Tim Allen. I love how he comes out and he goes against, the Democrats and all that stuff, and all of his fucking shows that he's ever had. He's always been anti-liberal, all conservative, right. Which has been great, especially from where he's come from. But you're right. Every show, from TV to even music, has been bought and paid for in some aspect, and to just warp the minds of the people back then to be where they're at today.
And even when you look at, like, let's look at Home Improvement, because to my knowledge, Tim Allen's not a Jew, but no. The network was. So let's look at the content of the show. The show was fantastic. As I said, it's one of my fucking top 3 shows of all time. But the content of the show was vastly different than the content of black shows, of the content of Hispanic shows. Hispanic shows were all about, Mexicans are the greatest. Black shows were all about, blacks are the greatest. And the white shows were all about, we got to work in the garage.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it was always doing something, like, whether it was like building a house or building something or working in the garage. There was, and when I say none, of course, you can't ever say none, because there's going to be 1 or 2 stragglers here and there. But when we speak in broad spectrums, as we like to speak about people, about ideologies, about theologies, about religions, we like to speak in broad spectrum. So let's speak in broad spectrum, broadly speaking. The 90s was the precursor to the division that was able to happen from Obama. When Obama came in 2007, started campaigning in 2007, and then got elected in 2008, that everything that we saw in the 90s is what allowed him to come in and divide this entire fucking nation. All throughout the 90s, again, I'll tell you, like I said, I was disgusted that white people and black people especially were getting along so fucking well. All these white people were listening to black music, and all these fucking black people were hanging out with white people. Like, what the fuck is happening here? Well, they used Obama to fucking stop that, because at that point, the 90s, the people were kind of running things, and we kind of saw some things, but it's all part of the system. They have to wake you up so they can put you to sleep. And once you're asleep, they have to wake you up again so they can re-put you to sleep. And every time they put you to sleep, it's under a different spell. Every time they wake you up, it's under a different alarm clock. It's, oh my God, there's fucking war in the Middle East. Oh my God, there's war in South America. Oh my God, Canada's doing this. Oh my God, white people are fucking racist, trash pile pieces of shit that don't deserve to exist. Oh my God, slavery. Oh my God, this. But, it's always only aspects of certain things that they want to talk about, especially with slavery. How many people learned about the actual transatlantic slave trade in school in the 90s? We learned what about the transatlantic slave trade? White people captured slaves from Africa and brought them back to America, when in reality, it was
white people bought slaves from black people who had already enslaved their own people for money and greed, and largely controlled by the Jewish element. That's just statistical fact. We know that for a fact. And then we never learned that the transatlantic slave trade, that only 3.1 or 3.2% of the slaves actually came to America. And of those, most were owned by black people. We never learned that. We never learned that millions upon millions upon millions upon millions more slaves were transported from the fucking Middle Easterners, from the fucking Muslims to South America. We never learned that we had two countries below us, or fucking South America and Central America, that were highly into the slave trade, and all the owners were Latino. We never fucking heard this. We never learned it. All we learned was white people are bad, white people are responsible for slavery, and white people are the only people that had slaves. That's what we learned in the 90s. It's part of the system.
Well, we even learned that in the 80s too. Even in the 80s when I was in school, they never, we learned about the transatlantic trade, but we didn't learn it, how it actually happened, and they just kept it going into the 90s. But I think that was more junior high. So that would have been late 80s, like 88, 87, when they started doing that. And, they weren't telling you everything. And for sure, they wouldn't tell you that the first slave owner in America was fucking black. Right. They're not going to tell you that, because that, again, they were pushing towards a narrative where we're seeing today.
Well, and that's the hardest part too, is because we come out and we say these things, and people that are completely fucking ignorant and have never done a fucking second of their own research all want to say, no, that's fucking wrong. You're not going to sit here and tell me that a black person owned the most slaves in America. It's not going to happen. Yeah. You're just so fucking, but you've never done any research. And then when you say that to them, what do? They grab their phone and they go to Google. Well, Google says it's wrong. Motherfucker, that's the system. Like, you're literally holding the system, quoting the system as an argument for the system. Like, how fucking shut off from reality do you have to be? In order to find the real information, you got to dig. You got to actually read old books, the paper kind with pages that are written in the 1800s. Dude, we're talking about pyramids in America and all this other shit, but it's all been fucking wiped. It's all been erased. It's all been hidden from fucking history because, well, people that want control can't get control if everybody they want to control is smarter than they are.
Oh, exactly. I mean, why? Why give that up? I mean, I remember when I was growing up in the 90s, we would go down to Chicago and we got lost one time, and we ended up, I'm sure, I don't know if any of your listeners have heard, but I'm sure you have, about like Robert Taylor homes, Cabrini Green, and stuff like that. Did a whole
episode on it.
Okay. Yep. So we got lost, and we ended up over towards the Robert Taylor homes, and we got pulled over by a police officer, and the cops like, hey, what are you guys doing here? You're a bunch of white boys. This is what I want you to do. You're going to make a right here, a left there, right here. We're going to follow you, and you're going to go through every single stoplight to get the fuck out of that neighborhood.
Yep. Yeah.
But they don't, again, this is things that, people don't want to believe is true, when in fact it is. I mean, I know when I was in school, even in the 90s, I think we had at most 5 Hispanic people in school. There was no African Americans. There was no black people, nothing. Just 5 Hispanic people. And that was it. And 2 of them didn't speak very good English.
Well, of course, there was.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, outside of that, of course, there's no African Americans, because African Americans don't exist. They're black Americans. You can trace your fucking roots anywhere you fucking want to, but you are fucking American. If you were born here, your fucking parents were born here, and your grandparents were born here, and you've never been to fucking Africa, you can just shut that African American shit down.
I try to be politically correct when I say African American, because I'm trying to appease that side, I guess, maybe just a teeny bit, but I mean, let's just call it for what it is, black people.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great idea. I'm sure the YouTube gods and the fucking Facebook gods aren't going to shut the show down for what I say, because you just said African American. Like, oh, we were going to shut this motherfucker down, right? We were going to shut this motherfucker down, but his co-host said African American, so we'll leave it up for just another week.
We're going to leave it up and let it play out, see where this thing goes. But I mean, that's what it was like. I mean, I can tell you from, when I was in school, we learned, we had shop classes, we had economic classes, we learned how to use our hands, work on vehicles, and budget.
Right.
And as soon as I got out of school, they took that out.
Yeah, we didn't
Why
have
would they
that.
take it out?
We didn't have that. I don't even. I
Why would
think at first we had home ec but it wasn't called home ec. It was something else. But none of the men took it because you had to have a baby. Like you had to have that electric baby that you had to watch for a week or some
or
shit.
an egg or something like that. You had to take care of something. For,
Yeah, we had these like fucking
something.
alleged $10,000 electronic babies at Warren.
Yeah, no.
I went to Warren Township High
probably
School, and which is an
Yeah, probably.
absolute fuck show of a fucking school when I was there.
I went to McHenry West High School and it was an absolute fuck show there as well. So I think the school system was just a fuck show all across the board at that point.
Everything in McHenry seems kind of like fuck showy. Like I get it. I'm in Lake County and whatnot, but
Bro, I'll tell you what. If you get me started on McHenry, this is going to go off the rails from the 90s.
well, the
'cause I'm gonna
fucking
go off
problem,
in
the
there.
biggest problem with McHenry is all your fucking pedo-loving judges. Every time a fucking guy gets fucking arrested for raping a baby, the McHenry County fucking judges let him off.
Judge Lamb is the one that does it all the fucking time. She lets everybody off. It's like, oh well, he's not a danger to society, but he essayed a young kid. We're gonna let him go.
Yeah,
This is the product of the 90s.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like everything that happened in the 90s is why our lives are like they are now. This is why our society is like it is now. And the unfortunate thing is that everybody's so fucking married to their opinions. So Joe Rogan has he talks about this, and I love his perspective on it. He says, don't get so fucking married to your opinions. They're allowed to change. I don't know if anybody's not told you this, but you're allowed to change your opinions. Don't get married to your ideas. Those ideas aren't even yours. They come into your brain and you go, and then you let them go. But some people, they come into their brain and like, I need this. This is mine. I want this for myself. And then they get married to it.
My precious.
Yeah, exactly. And then, they march through life trying to, the whole time they're trying to indoctrinate other people, they're really just pep talking themselves to keep believing this bullshit narrative.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's unfortunately, I mean, again, we can say this until we're blue in the face and people just keep falling for it. It just,
Well, if we can fucking wake up here and there, wake up some motherfuckers here and there, the masses don't really matter. But the motherfuckers that are willing to wake up, and this is my opinion on why I do my show, because trust me, guys, excuse me, I get a lot of people telling me, like, nobody fucking listens to you. Well, my numbers would prove otherwise. I'm just going to put that out there first and foremost. But for the people that say nobody fucking listens to you, maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. Maybe not en masse do they listen to me. But I can tell you individually that I get a lot of motherfuckers every single fucking day telling me they listen to me, telling me that I changed their mind or at least made them think about something from a different angle so that they could try to reform their opinion or just assess the opinion they already have to make sure it's right. So just offering different perspectives is an incredible benefit to society. Even if they're coming from somebody that's as brash and brazen as I am, as just aggressive as I am in my bones, they need to be put out. They just need to be fucking heard.
Well, when I was in school, we also, I just thought of this. We had debates. We had a class like with history and stuff like that, and economics, we had debates. So, and they took that out as well. So it's like, again, we see that today where we used to have debate stuff that, we would have to do in school. And we see it today, like it's like completely gone out of schools. I don't even I've talked to kids, my nephews and nieces and stuff like that have gone through school, and that's been kind of taken out. Like they don't do the debate thing, and you wonder why, because in today's society, it is so frowned upon to debate somebody else with a different opinion, because all that's going to do is get people pissed off, because people don't know how to debate anymore. Right. Nobody can debate civilly. They have to get angry. They have to start pointing fingers, name calling, this, that, and the other, because they don't want to hear the other side. But growing up, we were taught that debate is good. You need to have debate to open up conversations and hear both sides of the coin. And once they took that out in the 90s, it's like, again, where we're at today. It's like you can literally take everything where we're at today and look back at the 90s, and there's a lot of things that came from the 90s and forced what is happening today.
Well, and what they did is they took things like the debate teams and the debate clubs, because we had that at Warren. We had that when I was in school. I was class of 2000, so 96 to 2000. I never graduated or dropped the fuck out. Went to work, but we had the debate club. We had certain things like science. We had, like you could dissect things and stuff like that. But here's what we did is, see, people like me, I was never one of those motherfuckers that was ever going to be able to just sit in a fucking desk quietly with my head down, diligently working. I just wasn't that fucking guy. And I know there was hundreds of them in my school. But what we did is they fucked us kind of people by saying, well, oh, you think you would be really good at the debate team? Well, you have to get straight A's across the board in all your other classes before we'll allow you to be in the debate team. Oh, you think you could be really good at science? Well, you have to get straight A's all the way across the board for all your other classes if you want to go into this other level of science, this other level of biology, this other, where you can dissect the fetal pigs and all this other stuff. Oh, you think you might want to be in politics? Well, you have to get straight A's across the fucking board if you want to be invited to the school trip to go to Washington, D.C. to get a fucking to get a feel of the place. They segregated the people that would really be good at a lot of this shit from the shit that they would be good at intentionally, because it was an indoctrination system to try to get you to sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, and work fucking hard for the man. The man needs to get paid, and that means you need to work your fucking dick off. And until you can fucking prove that you can do that, you can't have fun. You can't do what you want to do. You can't indulge in what you would be good at. You can't be you until you've proven that you can be us.
Oh, exactly. And the fact is, I mean, even with debate clubs and stuff like that, they want you to have the same thought process, the same views as they're having. And it didn't make sense. Like, you have to do this, and this to be even considered to be on the debate club, especially for people like myself, like you, where we would speak our minds even through school and stuff like that. They didn't want people like us there. That's why they made it harder for people like us to be in there, because they knew if we came in there, it would change the whole fucking game.
It was going to be a ripple effect. I was going to say something. You were going to say something. One of the people like us was going to say something. And that little something was going to flutter through the air into somebody else's ear and fucking plant that seed. Now we've got a problem. Now we got another one of you motherfuckers to deal with. We need to get rid of you. We need to fucking kick you out. We need to fucking isolate you. We need to put you in school suspension all the time. We need to put you in the fucking hallway and surround you with wood pegboard partitions. I've done all of it, It's it's absolutely fucking insane. And people that can be our age now and not look back and be like, dude, I have to rethink everything, especially if you're a liberal or a leftist, because we just had Tom Hatsis on the show, and he brought up this idea where he looks at leftists as different than liberals, and I've come to like that a lot. So, these leftists and liberals and shit that are out here now, they don't possess the ability to look back at the 90s and be like, dude, you might be onto something. If nothing else, you don't have to say I'm right. Just be like, you might be onto something. Let me break this down a little bit. They won't do it because it fucks their reality, because it all comes back to what I always say about people. People do not believe the truth. People will willfully not believe the truth, but they will willfully believe whatever they have to believe to make what they currently believe into the truth. So if they start rabbit holing down the shit into the 90s, that will have to change their opinion of the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s. It will have to, but they don't want to do that because they're comfortable in their own fucking ignorance. They're comfortable in their own complacency. They're comfortable in their own fucking laziness, and they're comfortable in their own fucking delusion, because when they look at the internet, other people seem to share that fucking delusion. So then they start convincing themselves, well, other people believe it, so I'm obviously right. As to where you and I and normal fucking people across the board, not even just right, just left, from conservatives to Republicans to fucking leftists, liberals, Democrats, all the way across the board, real motherfuckers will look at certain shit and reassess what they believe to make sure they're believing what is good for them, good for the country, good for the goal, good for the mission. They'll just do that. But these motherfuckers, most motherfuckers, that they ain't like that. They got a certain friends like, we talk about it all the fucking time. How many times have you heard somebody with 71 followers say, I would say it, but I don't want to lose my page? Who fucking cares about your fucking page? Yeah. This is the problem. We're all about the followers. We're all about the fans. We're all about the monetization. But then because of all that, then the mission goes out the fucking window. Why did you start social media? I thought it was because of the mission, but then you got tainted. You got fucking rose-colored glasses looking at that romantic view of the money coming in, or the fans coming in, the followers coming in, the support coming in, because you said a thing. Now you have to continue to say that fucking thing.
No, exactly. I mean, I look at it like this, man. I have 14K on my Facebook, and I'm not going to stop saying what I'm going to say, even if I'm at risk of losing my page or getting restricted or banned or anything like that. It's not like the first time I haven't been restricted or banned or whatever, where I had to restart over from scratch. That's not what it is for me. That for me, it's about it's about the mission, getting the truths out, getting this kind of information out there to people. So maybe, just maybe, that butterfly is going to fly in, like you were saying, and just resonate with somebody and be like, boom, oh, shit, I've been around this whole time. But unfortunately, a lot of these fucking people, these liberals, lefties, whatever you want to call them, they just want to live in the delusional world because it's easier for them, because they're told what to think, what to believe. And, it all, again, it stems back from that far back. I mean, even it could probably even go further back than the 90s. I mean, if you really trace it back, it can go way farther back because, a country that, mindless people is easier to control than people that actually will think for themselves and speak out.
Right. Well, and here's something for the right side to think about. Everybody's mad at Trump, okay? When because he's a fucking huge advocate for H-1B visas. He's like, we need to import talented people. We need to import people that can do the fucking jobs. Why are you not taking that at face value? Why are you not understanding what he's actually saying? He's saying that the people that are alive now are not skilled, and they're not wanting to be skilled. They don't have the brain capacity to become skilled in their 30s and 40s because of the system that America has had in place for decades. We have grown into this place where we can't do the fucking job. I will tell you this, 99% of Americans can be taught and trained to do something very fucking well. Now, what that something is has changed drastically over the ages, though. 100 years ago, you could teach any fucking American to do any fucking thing, and they would do it to the best of their fucking ability and be at the top of the game. But now, people just don't have the brain power. They don't have the mental capacity to figure a lot of shit out. I know people that can't figure out how to sweep a floor correctly. Like, just can't fucking do it. They cannot figure out how to use a push broom correctly. It's not in them. And that is all because of what we suffered through in the 90s in the school and the indoctrination system. Yes, it went back before the 90s, but the reason I draw back to the 90s is because that's the age demographic of the people creating the most problems right now. We're either the ones in the streets creating the problems, or we're the ones at home raising children that are in the streets creating the fucking problems.
Well, and here's a good point for people. I mean, for those of you that started going to school in the 90s and stuff, and this is how bad it is. I mean, most of the people, like these people that are indoctrinating their children and all that stuff to be the problem that's out in the streets. How many of you guys can fix a car, change a tire? How many of you guys could know even how to, if it came down to it, grow a garden? The simple things of life that will keep you going. How many of you actually even know how to do that anymore? Because they stopped fucking teaching it. Why would they want to continue to teach you to be self-sufficient and not dependent on the government? And again, it really revved up in the 90s with this, because they want you dependent. They want you to need the government so fucking badly for your food, to be able to fix things, to do this, to do that. When back in when I was growing up, we learned how to build houses. We learned how to plant, do the garden. We learned how to do all those things. And they don't teach that. They stopped teaching that stuff. And half these people, I guarantee you, they don't know they can't even change a tire. They're calling AAA. I'm like, I don't know how to change my tire. Yeah. And typically AAA is an old guy coming out to fucking change a tire.
90% of the motherfuckers on the road can't change your own fucking tire, can't change your own fucking oil. I'd say 80% of the motherfuckers don't even know how to put air in the tires.
Yeah. I would wholeheartedly agree to that.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
I mean, that goes back to again, like after about 93, mid 90s, especially out where I'm at, they started really cutting back on all those classes because they don't want you to be self-sufficient.
Oh, right. And here's a tactic that they employed in our lives that we can all remember. I'm going to explain this to you. Here's a tactic that they employed that will illustrate just that, trying to get you dumb, okay? So if we think back to, I want to say it was circa 2010, maybe 2010 to 2015, there was a huge rash of videos, like every video you saw on every platform. It was, a quote, millennial that didn't know how to use a rotary phone. And what happened? Everybody fucking laughed and called them stupid. Now, that's part of the system because the real stupid motherfucker is actually the adult that never taught them how to use the fucking thing and then laughed at them for not knowing how to use it. But the powers that be employed this tactic to get everybody on that side of things, where you're just fucking stupid because you just don't know. Motherfucker, you got to teach me how to use shit that's 80 years older than my birth date. But we all laughed. We all spent not we, but most everybody I know, I got mad every fucking time. I teed off with motherfuckers over and over again over those videos. But that broke into other videos. I don't know how to use a fishing pole. I don't know how to use this. I don't know how to use that. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. All of which they were never taught to these people. So they indoctrinated subconsciously the adults to believe that these kids were stupid because they didn't come out with that inherent knowledge. None of us have ever come out of the fucking womb with inherent knowledge. We came out of the womb with a genetic predisposition to breathing, pissing, eating, and sleeping. That's fucking it. Every single thing else we ever fucking felt, thought, knew, anything was taught to us. But that has seemed to gone by the wayside, that notion that you have to actually teach people when it's not exposed to them on the daily. These older people, like my parents, for example, I saw them laughing at those kids. How the fuck do they not know how to use a phone? You never fucking taught them. That phone technology is literally 80 years older than the day they were born, and it's not used anymore anywhere. And you just want these motherfuckers to know how to use it. Why don't you go to fucking Japan and use one of these super futuristic toilets without a lesson? My friend's been there. He sent me videos. I've seen some toilets out of Japan, and I shit you not, I have seen some toilets in Japan that I wouldn't be able to figure out how to use to save the fucking life of 1,000 babies. Wouldn't happen because you need to be fucking taught. But once you're taught, once you're shown, then you know. Then nobody laughs at you because you know. But they laughed at you when you didn't know. Whose fault is it? What was it that you didn't know? The person that failed to fucking teach you that did know. And that's the society we live in. We've got all these gatekeepers of all this knowledge, but we want to laugh at the people that don't have it while we actually know we're keeping it from them.
Right. And it's as simple as just teaching them, teaching somebody how to, do something so small like the rotary phone back in the day. Instead of laughing at them, that would actually give them the confidence to be able to want to learn more stuff. Yeah. And essentially you're knocking the kids down, like by not teaching them. Yeah. You're knocking them down to be this basic, I like to just call them zombies, just every day, just, eating whatever, is being told to them as fact and truths and all that stuff instead of actually wanting to learn. And that's the problem that we have. And that's, why we don't have skilled workers. That's why we don't have these things is because people are they're dumbed down. They're just like, well, no, I don't want to learn.
Well, if every time you didn't know how to do something that was never taught to you, you were fucking ridiculed, mocked, and laughed at online, would you ever want to fucking learn a fucking thing? No. You're just going to be like, I'm just going to do me. Fuck you guys.
Exactly.
And
why
me
would
is
you?
retarded.
Yeah. Why would you want to learn anything at that point? I mean, if you're being, like you said, if you're being ridiculed, I mean, that would just deter anybody from wanting to learn how to do anything. It's like, well, if I did this wrong, if I do something else, it might be wrong. Then I don't want to be laughed at. I don't want to be called like I'm stupid or this or that. Who would? So I mean, you can't really blame them, but I mean, that's the problem. I mean, it's like that's a huge fucking problem. That's why we're at where we're at today.
Well, and it's a parenting issue because parents should be smart enough to see through the bullshit, but they weren't. My generation, your generation, we just weren't.
Hmm.
Like we were willfully too stupid to see through the indoctrination, willfully too stupid to see through the fucking planning, the fucking process, the systems, the systematic oppression of wisdom and knowledge on the behalf of the fucking people of the United States and the globe, for that matter. We were just willfully too stupid to see through the fact that we were erasing all of it through what we were living through, which is these quote unquote good times.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I remember growing up, and one thing I can sit here and be grateful for what my parents taught me was my dad, he taught me how to fish. He taught me how to camp, taught me how to be able to survive when, out in the wilderness, stuff like that. My mom would make sure, like, I knew how to cook, I knew how to do so it's like, I'm grateful for that because I had parents that wanted to teach me to do these things so I can be able to take care of myself. Nowadays, from the 90s and all that stuff on, when people, when they were having kids, it's like they didn't want to have that responsibility and teach. They really didn't.
Oh no, yeah, and they didn't want back then. See, and that's a bit of a difference too. It's the same trajectory, but it's the progression of it. Okay, so back in the 90s, the parents didn't want to fucking have to teach the fucking kids how to do everything. But for the most part, you still did. You didn't want to. You might have thought it was fucking stupid that you can't just figure this out because they were from a generation where you had to figure it out. But
Right.
this other new generation, it was like, well, maybe you should be able to figure it out, but I mean, if you can't, I'll help you out, whatever. And and they get slightly miffed about it, but do it anyway. Now, it's fucking parents don't want to be fucking parents, and heaven forbid your kid have a fucking a problem of some sort. Whether they're autistic, they have fucking sound triggers, or they have a fucking anything like this. I see videos of it all the fucking time. Just mothers just whipping their fucking kids out of their lives because they've got some sort of mental issue, mental retardation, mental autism. They've got some sort of cerebral palsy. They've got something and they don't want to fucking deal with it. But then you look at these other motherfuckers, these other motherfucking parents with totally normal, beautiful children. They're just a little bit dumb. You would think those parents would be like, dude, I saw those videos of those fucking parents that had all these kids with all these fucking health issues and they don't want to be parents and it's driven them down into a hole of depression and a darkness. I'm just going to appreciate this. I'm going to teach my kid how to be the best they can fucking be. They don't see it that way either. These motherfuckers with beautiful fucking beautiful kids, healthy kids, they just throw them an iPad and tell it, here you go. Just leave daddy alone. Just leave mommy alone. Have a piece of fucking cake, a piece of pie, some ice cream, have a candy bar, have a whole bag of fucking Halloween candy. I don't give a fuck. Just leave me alone. I have shit to do. And then what happens with that shit to do? The feet go up on the coffee table or the ottoman, that bottle of wine gets cracked or that beer top gets flipped off, and then TV's on.
Yep. No, exactly. I mean, I know, like, and that's the problem. I mean, it's just like there's less parenting, which is the problem. And I think we can even take a look at this. Like, we can go back towards the late 80s. All right. Stay with me on this. We can go back into the late 80s. I mean, back when I was growing up in the 80s, it was more a one income household. Okay. As we started creeping up into the 90s, it started becoming more dependent on both parents working, which is where we start running into the problem where the parents aren't there. So they get done with work, the children are more held accountable to do their homework on their own, less help from the parents, and it progressively got worse and worse and worse through the 90s because it became where it had to be two parents working because inflation was going up, taxes were going up, and all this shit. So, I mean, again, but it was done by design.
Yeah.
Make the kids less dependent on the parents, more dependent on what's going on with, and taking with everything they have, what they're being taught in schools, all that stuff, and taking the parents out of the equation a lot of the times. And I think that's part of the problem as well.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely part of the fucking problem, and that's why we see the schools right now. I mean, I've dealt with it personally myself. My wife has dealt with it personally myself. In fact, my wife's got 2 kids. I got 2 kids. We have 4 kids together, but not you know what I mean. But she had an issue in school with one of her kids was kind of going mentally dark, and they were seeing a psychiatrist, and they're the school psychiatrist, and this and that and the other thing. Well, do you think the school let us know? Fuck no. Oh. In fact, when we found out by the by through the grapevine, through a fucking back channel, she called the school and fucking read them the riot act. Like, my kid's fucking talking about suicide and you wouldn't even let me know. And turns out that schools have a confidentiality agreement with kids at that time, several years ago. They had a confidentiality agreement with anybody over 12. So you got fucking 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds. That's the worst time of a motherfucker's life. That's like the worst time of a motherfucker's life. You're going through every fucking change that the human DNA will ever undergo, and you're all at one time. And these motherfuckers are walking around talking about wanting to blow their fucking brains out, and the school's like, fuck it, let them. Don't tell the parents. No. Don't tell the parents. Just let them fucking slaughter themselves. It's absolutely fucking absurd. And that's all part of the system trying to take control of the people. They figured out they can't take control of the adults very easily, but they can take control of the fucking kids. And that's why they're trying to erase parents from this world. I'll tell you this, with this abortion argument that is always firing up, and it's again firing up worse than ever, I'll tell you this. At this point in time, not even because of my age at 43, not even because of that. If I was to get my wife fucking pregnant at this point, that motherfucker would be out of here in a fucking instant. There's no fucking way I am going to put my child in the school system as it is. It is not going to fucking happen. I would rather fucking knock that motherfucker right out before it becomes anything than let it grow up and be a fucking slave to some system that it didn't ask for. I would rather get rid of that motherfucker now than have to fucking answer to the school system as though it was a fucking god. I got one fucking kid left in the fucking school system that has to be. He's in high school. I got one motherfucker left. Then they're all fucking done. They're all fucking done. And I don't got to deal with the fucking school system. The school system fucked me my entire life. It's fucking tried to fuck every other fucking child since. And I'm not going to fucking deal with it, because that is the fucking very first arm that the fucking people come to of the tyrannical law. The tyrannical government. The government extends its fucking policies to the schools, and the schools get them right out of the fucking womb. There'd be no fucking way I could ever deal with that. Not in this day and age.
No, fuck no. And, me and my wife, we don't have kids. We weren't blessed to be able to have kids, and I believe everything happens for a reason based on my faith. And I look back at it and I'm just like, at first when we found out we weren't able to have kids, it was kind of wrenching, because, the one thing that's in our heads is like, we want to have a child to be able and to leave, to continue on our bloodline. But taking a look at everything that's going on, like I've told my wife, like, man, if I had to go to these schools, because I've had to do it for my nephews, and go to the schools and fucking chew them out because for different varying reasons. But if it was my child, I probably would be in prison because I wouldn't tolerate the shit that they're being taught. I would have pulled them out of school and they would have been homeschooled and they would have learned everything as it happened. Yeah. They would be taught everything. They would learn how to be self-sufficient by a young age, like I was. I remember growing up, like, fuck, dude, we can leave our doors unlocked. Mm-hmm. When I was growing up, you can leave the fucking front door unlocked. Nobody's going to fuck with you. The parents would have you, you can be out until the street light came on and then you came home, for dinner. That's how it worked. Oh. And today you can't fucking do that because there's so much shit that's happening, so much bullshit. Like at my house, I have my door's locked. I mean, I want, for myself, it's like, man, I'm here thinking I want to put a camera up front, put a camera in the back because I want to see what the fuck's going on. That's the society we've come to because of what has happened in the past.
Yeah, and and if you had a kid now and you tried to homeschool them like most people fucking do, what happens? For all you fucking homeschoolers, key in the comments. What has happened? Because I guarantee you've had an instance where a teacher has berated you and demeaned you. The school system itself has tried to come after you through the court system to get that kid in their custody instead of your own. You're learning improper fucking methods. You're learning improper curriculum. You're not doing this. You're a terrible parent. Blah 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 blah. I see it every single day. I talk to people every single fucking day that have dealt with this bullshit. If you try to homeschool your kid, here, I've got a friend right now that has to go to court, that is going to court over and over and over again to try to get his fucking kid out of school, to try to get his kid into a homeschooling situation from a registered fucking educated teacher who is his wife.
That's fucked up.
Has to go to court to get him out of fucking school.
Wow.
That's how addicted to the indoctrination they are. They need us to put our fucking kids in their custody so they can raise them. And this is also part of the fucking plan, obviously, but it's also worked really well for parents because what happens now? When you see when the news comes on and something happens at the school, right? What do you hear from the parents? How dare the fucking school supervisors not? How dare the school not? How dare the superintendent not? How dare the teacher not? How dare the local government not? Not something. It's never how dare me put my fucking kid in that fucking shithole situation but we can't be that way because mommy's got things to do. Daddy's got things to do. So we need our fucking children to be raised by the school. Now, conversely, our kids go to school, and what do they learn? All the shit we don't want them to learn. Then what happens? Then it's the school's fault again. It's never the parents' fault. It's always the school's fault. How dare you teach my fucking child that guns are bad? I'm a gun nut, blah, 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 and I've never killed anybody. How dare you teach my kid that he could be trans? How dare you teach my daughter she could be a lesbian? How dare you teach my fucking kids? How dare you, dare you? All the fucking time. So the school, if it does what it's supposed to do, which is not teach your kids, not educate your kids to be healthy, productive individuals moving into the future. If the school does what it's supposed to do, which is indoctrinate your kids into becoming a cog in the system, you get mad. If it doesn't do that, you get mad. If it does it good, you get mad. If it does it poorly, you get mad. Where the fuck is the fucking, what's the common denominator here? That common variable is the parent not taking fucking parental action. It's the parent not being a fucking parent. The parent is not teaching the fucking child more than the school. The parent is not teaching the child more than their fucking, their little colleagues in school, their little classmates. The parent is not teaching their child more than the television or the internet is teaching them. The parent, for all intents and purposes in 2026, has fucking checked the fuck out of that relationship. He or she just fucking sends their kid to grandma, you teach him. Sends their kid to school, you teach him. Sends their kid to the internet, you teach him. Sends their kid to the iPad, you teach him. Sends their kid to their friends, you teach them. But when they teach them wrong shit, it's how dare all of you motherfuckers. We need to start looking at ourselves as parents if we want to unfuck this situation. You got a shitty fucking kid, you're a shitty fucking parent. That's the way it works. But you don't want to accept that. You don't want to accept that your kid just got locked up in fucking prison for stealing cars and money because you were a shitty parent. No, you're going to then blame the school. You're going to then blame his classmates. You're going to say dumb shit like, I don't know, he was so good. And then he fell in with the wrong crowd. You know why he fell in with the wrong crowd? It's because you're a shitty fucking parent. Until we own the fact that we are shitty fucking parents, this is never going to get fixed. Right?
Bravo, fucking Abe, right. If I had a soundboard with fucking audience fucking going off, I'd be fucking blasting that.
Oh, that's laughter. I need clapping. No, I don't know.
You need
clapping. I don't know which one's clapping. I don't know which one. Is
well, we don't need to worry about that.
There we go.
There we go. Right fucking there. Because you hit the nail on the fucking head. You hit the fucking nail on the head, and more people need to be able to fucking just say that and just realize that. Yeah. You know, it's just fucking A, man.
And why And why is this a thing? Why is this real? What I just said, why is that 100% fact? It's because of the 90s. It's because we were all taught that it's somebody else's fucking job for everything. You don't need to do this. Somebody else needs to do this. You don't need to earn this. Somebody else needs to earn it. You don't need to learn it. Somebody else needs to learn it. You don't need to teach it. Somebody else needs to teach it. It's always somebody else's fucking job to get your shit done. That's what we learned in the 90s. That's what we're talking about this whole fucking show, is that we all want to look at the 90s as with these romantic fucking views. But the fucking truth is the 90s are what created the 2020s.
Yeah, 100%. The 90s is what created what is happening now and what has been going on since 2020. This is, I mean, come on. It's right here. It's right there in fucking front of you. It really is. I mean, just look back on it. Anybody with even a small smidgen of brain left can look back on it and start connecting the dots.
Yeah. Well, it's like I always say, we as humans, every decision you make today that has of any circumstance, of any consequence, of any sort of gravity, any decision you make that is important today, you are 5 years away from the reward or the consequence from that decision. That's why people that live lives that other people want, that's why they have those, because they understand that principle. If I start this now, in 5 years or 10 years, this is especially something I tell people in business. They come to me wanting to fucking start a business. Don't even bother. Unless you're willing to be broke as fuck and punched in the fucking dick for 10 fucking years, don't bother. As long as you're not willing to fucking just sleep on a cardboard fucking box on a cold tile floor somewhere, don't fucking bother. You're just going to fuck yourself in the end. You're going to take out all these loans. You're going to go fucking bankrupt. Then you're going to fucking close the fucking business, and you're going to be strapped with all those loans that they're not going to let you out of, and you're going to be fucked. It's the same shit. Make the decision today to put you on path to where you want to be 5 fucking years from now. But when we enlarge that, when we balloon that out into a societal type atmosphere, that timeline becomes larger. So instead of that personal timeline being 5 years, now you have a societal timeline of 20 years to 30 years. And coincidentally, my fucking opinion is fucking right. You can look throughout every fucking major course correction that mankind's ever taken, and it's always in increments of 25 to 30 fucking 20 to 30 years, 25 to 30 years, sometimes 50 years. But it always fucking happens on about that timeline. So we as people have to look at the world and come together collectively and say, what are we going to do? What decisions are we going to make today that is going to put this country, this world, this society in a place where we want it to be in 20 fucking years from now? We don't have that in us. We just don't have it in us. And that's why you see people just gave up. People give up every fucking day. They'll either give up and just walk away from society and let it burn. They'll give up and blow their fucking brains out. They'll give up in any one of 100 fucking ways, because we can't just come collectively together and say, this is the reality.
Well, let's just be honest, man. Quitting, I mean, it was instilled in kids in the 90s. Quitting's okay.
Mm-hmm. And even worse in the 2000s with participation trophies. Why should I bust my ass if they're going to get a trophy too?
Exactly. So, I mean, in the 90s, it was instilled in you quitting's okay. It's okay to quit. The 2000s, it just revved up, and it's just like, well, here's your participation trophy for sitting on the sideline doing nothing, but we're going to give you a fucking trophy for just showing up.
Right.
Instead of actually putting in the fucking hard work and actually doing something.
Right.
But I mean, again, goes back to the 90s.
But since we'll have some extremists in the fucking coming at me, let's touch on that, the quitting thing. Caveat, olive branch here. The quitting thing is what we're talking about when it comes to quitting. Is we're talking about quitting doing things that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, not be as fat as I am. You're not supposed to be. You're supposed to eat healthy. You're supposed to exercise. You're supposed to learn. You're supposed to grow. You're supposed to be welcoming. You're supposed to do all this other shit. But they all want to quit that. But then the extremists will say, like, I'll give you a personal example. My first clothing brand, Rogue Saint Clothing Company, failed miserably because the fucking 2 goddamn rejects that I fucking started the business with did nothing but fuck me over the entire fucking time. And by the time I actually got them out of the fucking way because they were fucking it all up, I didn't have any interest in it anymore. This shit's tainted. This has a bad fucking taste now. I don't want it. But motherfuckers came at me, oh, it could have been something, but you fucking quit. No, it could have been something, but I shifted gears into another fucking direction. And that's okay. It is okay to quit something that is hurting you. It is okay to quit something that doesn't make you happy, doesn't fulfill you. That's okay. But don't mask that thing that doesn't fulfill you as something that is fucking necessary for your own happiness, for your own contentment, for your own life, like exercise and learning and growing. Don't quit that shit. That's necessary. You can quit that fucking business if you're 5 years in and it doesn't make you any fucking money and all it does is cause you to pull your fucking hair out. You're more than welcome to quit unless you fucking believe in that business so deeply that you're willing to do that for another 5 years. Then quit. Then fucking quit. You know?
Yeah, I mean, there's no shame in like shifting gears and doing something that's going to benefit you in the long run. If something you're just going to sit there and spin the wheels and it's not going to be productive, you're not going to go anywhere with it. It's okay to quit. It is. But don't just like when I say it's okay to quit, don't just be like, all right, I quit. I'm not going to try anything else. Quit.
Right.
Go to something else. Do something else because there's a fucking reason for it.
Quit this to start that. Don't just quit this to stop everything.
Yeah, you can't stop because the moment you stop is the moment you just, again, you're part of the cog in the wheel that keeps on spinning. And that's what they want. Yep.
If we're going to fucking stop these motherfuckers from getting what they want, we're all going to have to collectively wake the fuck up. Parents, we ain't as fucking good as we thought we were. We're going to have to acknowledge that. We're going to have to access the parts of our brains that allow us to understand we ain't the greatest motherfuckers on earth and that everything we're seeing right now, we allowed to happen. And it's only until we accept that, it's not until we accept that we're going to be able to make any fucking changes. It's not until we all collectively accept the fucking reality that we all share that we can make any fucking thing happen for the better.
That's exactly true.
Let's wrap this shit up. Dave, let them know where they can find you.
All right. Well, obviously you can find me here on Savagely Loud every week. So, but you can also find me over on social media and Instagram and Facebook at The Hammer Drops. If you want to email me, be in contact with me, it's best to do it via email because it's easier for me to respond. And that email is david@thehammerdrops.com. Don't forget to like, follow, and share the content because it definitely helps break those algorithms and get these truths out to more and more people.
You are totally fucking correct, my friend. If you guys want to help me out, get these words out, get these truths out, you can follow me at Savagely Loud on Instagram is where I'm most active. And on that page, you're going to find 2 links. One of those links is to the Savagely Loud podcast page. Please follow me there. The other link you're going to find is simple link tree that anywhere you want to hear my rants or see my bullshit, you can get it there. Facebook, X, and Rumble at YouTube, or Facebook, X, and Rumble at Savagely Loud, YouTube at Savagely Loud Podcast, and you can email me in at savagelyloud@gmail.com, which will shortly here hopefully become savagelyloud.com, something at savagelyloud.com kind of thing. And yes, last but not least, don't forget to like, comment, share the material, and please rate and review the shows. Now, that all being said, you know what fucking time it is. Every single episode, we get all fired up, we get all amped up, and we don't want to walk away from the episode like that. So let's remind ourselves that humanity still exists with a little segment I like to call Hopelessly Human. It starts a little bit like...
People can be really rough. They can be quite tough. They can get in the way, but at the end of the day, some aren't only stupid, some are hopelessly human.
Oh, you know that's a fact. Some are hopelessly human. This one is no different. It comes from a place called inspirationallife.com. It's titled The Gift of Giving. Oh, boy. A bright boy of 10, Ethan, woke up on his birthday morning excitedly. He eagerly unwrapped his presents, smiling at the thoughtful gifts from his family and his friends. Among them was a generous amount of money from his grandparents meant for him to spend on something special. As Ethan contemplated what to do with the money, he wandered to the local children's hospital he had heard about us at school. His teacher had mentioned that many of the children there were dealing with severe illnesses and could use some cheering up. With a heart full of compassion, Ethan made a decision that he would change not only his life, but the lives of those around him. Instead of buying something for himself, he used the money to purchase toys and games for the children at the hospital. Ethan's parents, touched by their son's selflessness, helped him pick out various gifts that would bring joy to the young patients. They then accompanied him to the hospital, where Ethan delivered the presents to the children. The smiles on the sick children's faces as they received gifts were priceless. Ethan's heart swelled with happiness, knowing he had made a difference in their lives, even for just a moment. Inspired by Ethan's acts of generosity, his classmates decided to join his mission. They organized a toy drive at school, collecting donations from students and their families. Together, they created care packages filled with toys, books, and warm blankets for the children at the hospital. The impact of Ethan's decision rippled through the community, inspiring others to give back in their own ways. Local businesses partnered with the school to support the toy drive, and soon the hospital was overwhelmed with donations. Ethan's birthday had become a celebration of giving, and he realized that the true gift was not in receiving, but in the joy of making others happy. He had discovered the power of compassion and how a single act of kindness could inspire a community to come together for a more significant cause. That's hopelessly human as fuck. Way to go, kids.
Yes.
That's the show. Later.